Today, 19-year-old Madison Rothschild, daughter of real estate mogul Harrison Rothschild, struts into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom wearing a $3,000 Versace dress and carrying a Hermes bag worth more than most people's cars. You're wondering why this socialite princess stands before a judge. Last Friday night, Madison decided traffic lights were suggestions for ordinary people. Racing through downtown Providence in her custom pink Lamborghini, she ran 3 red lights while live streaming to her 800,000 Instagram followers, calling other drivers peasants in economy cars. When Officer Martinez attempted to pull her over, Madison refused to stop, leading him on a 15-minute chase through residential neighborhoods before parking outside her country club. Throughout her pampered existence, Madison has never encountered a problem money couldn't solve. She assumed this situation would follow the familiar pattern: mention the Rothschild name, let daddy's lawyers handle everything, return to spa appointments by lunch. She had no idea she was about to face Judge Frank Caprio, a man who proves justice doesn't negotiate with trust funds. As today's hearing unfolds, this entitled princess will reveal complete contempt for working people and the legal system. And just when she thinks her family name will rescue her, Madison Rothschild will make the most catastrophic statement of her privileged life. She'll look directly into Judge Caprio's eyes and declare that people like her don't belong in places like this, that courtrooms are for criminals, not elite society members. What happens next becomes one of Judge Frank Caprio's most devastating responses to entitled arrogance. He shows this spoiled princess exactly where she belongs. Hit that like button and prepare to witness the complete dismantling of privilege when a billionaire's daughter learns some authorities cannot be purchased. This is justice that restores faith in the system. Enjoy the story. Friday morning, 10:30 a.m. Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff calls out, the state of Rhode Island versus Madison Elizabeth Rothschild. Charges: reckless driving, running red lights, failure to yield to emergency vehicle, resisting arrest. Madison glides through the courtroom doors like she's making a grand entrance at a charity gala. Her stiletto heels click against the marble floor with deliberate precision. She pauses dramatically at the defendant's table, looking around the courtroom with obvious disgust before taking her seat with the delicate care of someone afraid of contaminating her designer dress. Judge Caprio looks up from his papers with characteristic dignified calm. "Good morning, Miss Rothschild." Madison's response drips with condescending politeness, as if she's greeting a hotel concierge who's about to receive a complaint. "Good morning. I assume we can handle this quickly. I have a very important lunch meeting at the yacht club." The casual dismissal of court proceedings as a minor inconvenience sends immediate murmurs through the gallery. Judge Caprio maintains his professional composure. "Miss Rothschild, you're facing serious charges including reckless driving and evading police. According to the report, you led Officer Martinez on a 15-minute chase through residential neighborhoods. Do you understand the severity of these charges?" Madison's perfectly glossed lips curl into a dismissive smile. "Your Honor, I think there's been a tremendous misunderstanding. I wasn't evading anyone. I simply didn't realize that particular officer was trying to get my attention. When you're driving a luxury vehicle with superior sound insulation, it's difficult to hear external noise." Her tone suggests she's explaining something obvious to someone of limited intelligence. "Miss Rothschild, Officer Martinez's report states you ran red lights at Maple and 3rd Street while emergency vehicles pursued you with sirens activated." Madison interrupts with an irritated wave of her diamond-laden hand. "Your Honor, Officer Martinez is clearly embellishing to make his job seem more important. Do you really think someone like me would run from a police officer? My family has dinner with the police commissioner twice a year. The report states you reached speeds of 65 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour residential zone where children were present." Madison's voice takes on a sharp, condescending edge. "Your Honor, we're talking about controlled high-performance driving, not recklessness. My Lamborghini has collision avoidance technology and professional-grade brakes. I had complete control at all times. Miss Rothschild, children were playing in those neighborhoods. You passed 3 elementary schools. Madison shrugs with casual indifference. Children should be supervised by their parents, Your Honor. If they're playing near roads, that's a parenting issue, not a driving issue. Besides, I have professional racing experience from Monaco. The officer's report states that he activated his emergency lights and siren, followed you through multiple intersections, and you even accelerated at several points during the pursuit. Madison waves her hand dismissively, her diamond bracelet catching the courtroom lights. Officer Martinez is probably exaggerating to justify his overreaction. These public employees love to create drama where none exists. Honestly, Your Honor, do I look like someone who would run from police? She gestures to her outfit as if her expensive clothing proves her innocence. Besides, I was on my way to a very important charity board meeting. The Harbor House Children's Foundation was depending on my attendance. Should I have been late to help disadvantaged children just because one officer decided to make a big production out of a minor traffic situation? Judge Caprio studies the report more carefully. Miss Rothschild, the pursuit began at 9:47 p.m. on a Friday night. What charity board meeting occurs at nearly 10 p.m. on a Friday? Madison pauses for just a moment, then recovers with practiced smoothness. It was a pre-event strategy session for our upcoming gala. Very exclusive, very private. We often meet outside normal business hours to avoid media attention and maintain donor confidentiality. I see. And this meeting was so urgent that you felt justified in endangering public safety to attend it? Madison's irritation becomes more visible. Your Honor, I wasn't endangering anyone. I'm an excellent driver with professional racing experience from my summers in Monaco. I've driven on the Nürburgring with Formula One instructors. I think I can handle Providence Street traffic without lecture from municipal employees. Judge Caprio leans forward slightly. Miss Rothschild, during this pursuit, you drove through 3 residential areas where children play. You ran multiple red lights. You put innocent lives at risk. Madison's composure starts showing cracks of irritation. Your Honor, I was driving a Lamborghini Huracan with advanced safety features and professional-grade brakes. I'm not some teenager in a beat-up Honda. I had complete control of my vehicle at all times. The speed limit in those residential zones is 25 miles per hour. You were clocked at 65 miles per hour. Speed limits are designed for average drivers in average cars, Your Honor. When you're operating a vehicle that costs more than most people's houses, different standards should apply. The courtroom erupts in shocked murmurs. Madison just argued that wealth should exempt her from traffic laws. Judge Caprio's expression hardens. Miss Rothschild, the law applies equally to everyone, regardless of what vehicle they drive or how much money their family has. Madison's mask of politeness begins slipping completely. Your Honor, with respect, that's a lovely ideal, but it's not realistic. My father Harrison Rothschild owns half the commercial real estate in this city. Our family foundation donates millions to local charities. We employ thousands of people in Rhode Island. She pauses dramatically, as if delivering the climax of a prepared speech. We're not talking about some random person who decided to speed to work. We're talking about a member of one of Providence's founding families. Someone whose charitable work has literally saved lives in this community. Judge Caprio's voice remains steady. Miss Rothschild, your family's charitable work doesn't grant you immunity from traffic laws. Madison's eyes flash with frustration. Your Honor, it's about context. When someone like me faces a legal situation, there are broader implications. If this goes public, it could affect our charitable giving. Should disadvantaged children suffer because one officer decided to make an example of a Rothschild? Are you suggesting that your charitable giving should influence how this court handles your case? Madison's voice takes on urgency. I'm suggesting practical solutions, Your Honor. A charitable contribution to a local cause instead of paperwork. Our family lawyer has a check prepared for $50,000. Miss Rothschild, Did you just offer to make a payment in exchange for favorable treatment? Madison looks genuinely confused by the negative reaction. Payment? Your Honor, I offered charitable giving. There's a significant difference between a bribe and charity. Explain that difference, Miss Rothschild. A bribe benefits someone personally. Charitable giving benefits the community. If I donate to the police equipment fund, officers get better gear. Everyone wins. And in return for these charitable contributions, this minor misunderstanding gets resolved without damaging my family's reputation or disrupting our ability to help others. Judge Caprio's voice becomes deadly quiet. Miss Rothschild, are you suggesting that your family's wealth should place you above the law? Madison seems genuinely confused by the question, as if he asked why water is wet. I'm not above the law, Your Honor. I'm simply pointing out that there are different levels of society, and different expectations for different people. When you move in the circles I move in, minor traffic infractions are handled differently. How should they be handled, Miss Rothschild? Madison brightens, apparently thinking she's finally reached someone reasonable. Discreetly, Your Honor. A phone call to the appropriate people. A charitable donation to the police benevolent fund. Everyone walks away happy, and we avoid this unnecessary public spectacle. This public spectacle. Madison gestures around the courtroom with obvious distaste. Your Honor, my family's legal issues being discussed in open court creates negative publicity that affects our business interests and charitable work. When the Providence Journal writes about a Rothschild getting traffic tickets, it reflects poorly on our family foundation and could impact future fundraising. The courtroom falls into stunned silence. Madison Rothschild just openly described a corruption scheme while treating it as normal business practice. Judge Caprio stands slowly, his movement commanding absolute attention. Miss Rothschild, you just described attempting to bribe public officials. Madison looks genuinely surprised by the negative reaction. Bribe? Your Honor, that's such an ugly word. I'm talking about community partnership. Mutual benefit. Supporting local institutions while resolving minor misunderstandings through appropriate channels. Miss Rothschild, do you understand where you are right now? Madison glances around the courtroom with obvious disdain. I'm in municipal court, Your Honor. Which, frankly, is exactly my point about this entire situation being inappropriate. Judge Caprio's voice cuts through the silence like a blade. What do you mean by inappropriate, Miss Rothschild? This is the moment Madison Rothschild makes the statement that will define her public humiliation. Your Honor, I don't belong here. People like me don't belong in places like this. Courtrooms are for criminals, for people who actually break laws that matter. I'm from one of Providence's most respected families. I attend charity galas with senators and governors. She gestures dismissively at the other defendants and spectators. This is a place for people who steal cars and rob stores. I had a minor misunderstanding about traffic signals. The fact that I'm sitting here with actual criminals is insulting to my family's reputation. The courtroom explodes in outrage. Madison just declared herself too elite for the same justice system as everyone else. Judge Caprio's response comes with the force of decades spent defending judicial integrity. Miss Rothschild, you believe you don't belong here. You think courtrooms are beneath your social status. You consider yourself too important to follow the same laws as everyone else. Madison nods eagerly, apparently thinking he finally understands. Exactly, Your Honor. I knew you'd see reason once I explained the situation properly. Judge Caprio's next words will echo through the courtroom for years to come. Miss Rothschild, you're absolutely right about one thing. You don't belong here in municipal court. Your crimes and your attitude toward the law are far too serious for this level of judicial system. Madison smiles triumphantly, believing she's about to be dismissed. I'm transferring all charges against you to Superior Court, where felony cases are handled. Your reckless endangerment of children, your attempted bribery of public officials, and your complete contempt for the judicial process require more serious legal attention. The smile vanishes from Madison's face as the reality hits her. Additionally, I'm recommending that the State Attorney General's office investigate your family's history of community partnerships and charitable donations that mysteriously resolve legal problems. If this is how your family routinely handles law enforcement, Rhode Island needs to know. Madison's voice cracks for the first time. Your Honor, I didn't mean. I was just explaining how things usually work. How things usually work in your family is corruption, Miss Rothschild. What you described is a pattern of bribery that undermines the entire justice system. Judge Caprio delivers his final devastating blow. You said you don't belong here because courtrooms are for criminals. Miss Rothschild, you are a criminal. Your reckless driving endangered innocent lives. Your attempted bribery corrupted public officials. Your contempt for this court demonstrates exactly the kind of entitled arrogance that makes equal justice necessary. Madison's composure shatters completely. Your Honor, please. My father will be furious. This will be in the newspapers. Our family's reputation. Your family's reputation is built on believing laws don't apply to people with money. Today, you learn that justice doesn't care about your father's real estate empire or your mother's charity committees. As bailiffs explain the transfer procedures to Superior Court, Madison sits in stunned silence, finally understanding that in Judge Caprio's courtroom, privilege is worthless and justice applies to everyone. The spoiled princess who thought she was too elite for consequences just discovered that true justice recognizes no social hierarchy, only right and wrong.